Welcome, Your Highness. I trust your journey was a safe and swift one? I'm glad to hear that. The Queen is extremely grateful that you accepted our invitation. I am Ambrose, Chamberlain to the royal family of Zeteron. The reason you were summoned here, well, perhaps it best if the Queen tells you herself. Please, follow me. Oh yes, it's fairly common for the royal family to invite other royals and nobility to the palace. It's just not common for those esteemed guests to be from the, northern continent. Have you ever been to Zeteron before, Your Highness? What a pity. I hope that we have the opportunity to show you the best of our fair nation during your, visit. No, we won't be going to the throne room. The Queen has asked to meet with you in her personal study instead. The matter calls for a little bit more discretion than is usually afforded when the entirety of the court is within earshot. We're headed just through there. May I present to you Her Majesty, Queen Ava Lucia Cadmus, first of her name, ruler of Zeteron. Your Majesty, may I present the heir to the throne of Saphira, here at your request.
You are most welcome here. Please, make yourself comfortable. It is a pleasure to meet you as well. Please, let us dispense with the formalities. We're both royalty. No need for flowery language. Let us speak plainly, as equals. Ambrose, we're missing someone.
I shall fetch her, Your Majesty.
Now then, to the public eye, you've been invited here to visit the royal family and examine some artifacts in our possession, as well as spend time improving relations with the royal family. How very astute. Such frivolities are not common in times of war, which Zeteron most certainly is embroiled in. Which brings us to the real reason I summoned you here. You're a powerful shifter. And not just any powerful shifter, but a dragon shifter. The fact is, my family is also dragon shifters. While other shifters do exist, the dragon form is rare and isolated to very few family trees. Your family line is known to skip 2 or 3 generations before the gift manifests itself. Is that right? Well, what good is being a queen if you can't leverage that power to get information? I'm only joking. There's a record of the Sephiran royal family in our library, as there is of every other royal family on both the northern and southern continents. When I was made aware that you were likely a dragon shifter, I searched that tome for more information about your family. By that look on your face, I assume you want to know how I knew about your gift in the first place.
I can answer that. Surprised to see me, dragon?
I believe you've already met my daughter, Rowan.
It is good to see you again. And see your human form. How's the wing? I'm glad to hear you can fly on it again. Injuries like that can be debilitating for life. I'm pleased you managed to make a full recovery. Yes, I am a princess. I didn't think it prudent or necessary to share that information at the time. I hope you'll forgive me. My full title is Her Royal Highness Princess Rowan Adelaide Cadmus II, Commander of the Airborne Shifter Forces and heir to the throne of Zeteron. How do you do? It was the family crest on your shield that tipped me off. I couldn't stop wondering where I had seen it before. Once I was safely escorted home by my men, I took to the library and searched around for it. I knew you were from the northern continent, so it was easy to locate your family name. When I searched other resources and read the description of the family's shifting abilities and about the unique sapphire coloration of your dragons, it all fell into place for me. Your family has been operating quietly for quite some time. Political tensions in the northern continent. Yes, Mother and I have heard all about the history of your nation and the 5 nations that surround it. From what we were able to discern, there was an invasion of your home a decade ago, and while the Zeteron royal family survived, their resources were drained and many of their citizens left. Tell me, is that why you were hiding out in the southern continent, so far from home?
You were offered help then? And you trusted these nobles who wanted to make a deal?
Their claim to be supporters of your family would be a welcome one if true, but sadly it sounds as though they used your kingdom's desperation as leverage to lure you into a trap. Were they the ones that shot those arrows through your wing? Lucky you shifted when you did, or those arrows would have found their way into your heart. You defeated them as a dragon then. Of course, you would have been injured and bleeding, an ocean away from your family or anyone you could rely on. It makes sense that you found the nearest shelter and stayed there in your human form, even if it did happen to be a small cave in a mountainside. So, when you heard me walking up to the mouth of the cave, you shifted then, didn't you? You wanted to hide your identity and scare off any intruders. Unfortunately for you, the intruder was the least likely person to be bothered by a dragon. It was kind of you to look after me in that state, even though your life was in danger and every moment you risked me finding out who you were.
Which brings me to my next point. You saved the life of a daughter of Zeteron. Not just any woman, but the heir to the throne. I owe you a debt of gratitude. As such, I'd like to open my home to you whenever you need it. And I have a proposition to make.
Easy now, Mother, don't scare them off.
I'd like to offer you an alliance, and assistance restoring your kingdom to its former glory. Our resources will be made available to you in limited supply at first, but in full when the war is over. You're right to be cautious, and I confess this isn't purely offered out of the goodness of my heart. Elevating your kingdom doesn't just help you, it provides Zeteron with a powerful alliance based on your northern connections, and your shifter blood.
What my mother means to say is that we need a show of force and unity more than ever before. An alliance to another dragon shifter, regardless of your kingdom's circumstances, would make a statement to the human revolutionaries who wish to unseat us. So you see, there is a stipulation to my mother's kind offer, but nonetheless it is an offer I hope you will take.
I haven't quite finished laying out my terms.
My apologies, Mother.
As part of the alliance, you will wed my daughter.
What?
This will cement you as a permanent ally, create strong ties between Zeteron and the northern continent, and allow us to demonstrate unification and strength without any bloodshed. Dragon shifters in our family have married humans for the last 2 generations. So, while it's not unprecedented and not necessarily an open threat, it's a statement. One we need to make.
Mother, when were you going to share this part of your plan with me?
If I had mentioned this earlier, you would have made your disagreement known, then disappeared to the front and not returned for weeks. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong, though I feel I should have been informed regardless.
You are informed now. I do not suggest this lightly. I am fully aware of the personal sacrifice involved in an arrangement like this one. Take some time. Speak to one another if it would help. Please give me your answer by this evening.
So soon? Mother, can we talk about...
This is my offer. I am making a decision with the best interest of my people at heart. And you should too. You're both dismissed.
Yes, my queen. Well, you look about as blindsided as I feel. No, I promise you, I had no knowledge of that particular piece. An alliance, yes, and having you train alongside me, absolutely, but marriage? I've made my feelings on that topic quite clear to her. It seems now she's using my love for my people to guide me into a match. Please don't take it personally. It's not you that I'm opposed to. You seem like a very nice person. You did save my life, after all. And you clearly understand this life, both that of a shifter and that of a royal. You've managed to keep your kingdom just above water, despite being dealt a terrible hand, which is very admirable and bears the mark of a good leader. My mother is right. It's a smart political move. Marriage to another dragon shifter would secure our throne quite well, in addition to strengthening ties to the northern continent, which are in short supply. Zephira may be a small nation, but it once had excellent trade potential, and I see no reason why we wouldn't be able to build that back up again. You're right. It's the best option for both of our kingdoms, even if the two of us must adjust. I suppose I always knew this would happen. Most marriages are arranged in Zeteron, and I had no reason to believe that I would escape tradition, but I had hoped I'd have more time. War does have a way of making things more urgent, doesn't it? No, I'm not angry with my mother. Surprised, yes. Frustrated that she didn't see fit to share this plan with me before now. But I should have considered the possibility. When I came to her and told her I believed I had encountered another dragon shifter, I put the piece on the board. I can hardly blame her for putting it into play. I promise I was only hoping for a strategic alliance. Tell me, are you opposed to this plan of hers? You would do anything for your people, wouldn't you? Even marry a complete stranger a continent away. I suppose that gives us some common ground, then. Very well, I am in agreement with you. We may move forward with this in order to stabilize both of our kingdoms and ensure the longevity of dragon shifters as a whole. Know this, though, I have no expectations of familiarity or intimacy. If you wish this to be a business arrangement only, it will be so. As with all other monarchs before us, we will have separate chambers and our own privacy to retreat to. If something is to happen organically, then so be it, but I do not wish for anything to be forced, for either of us. No, we needn't worry about children. Here in Zeteron, the next heirs are always humans, adopted by the current monarch, raised in their household and gifted with shifter abilities during a ceremony on their 10th birthday. Yes, that does mean we are bitten, albeit gently, by a massive dragon at 10 years old. Quite a humbling experience, really. No, Queen Ava is not my mother by birth. She and my father, the late King Owen, adopted me as a baby from an orphanage here in the city. It's a custom here, part of the arrangement made several generations ago to ensure that the common people were always represented. The royal line is never biological here. It also allows royals to marry anyone of any gender, which is considerably less limiting when choosing an appropriate partner and a good alliance. One day, when the war is over, we might adopt a child and raise it as the royal heir, but it is not a concern for today. And that is, of course, assuming that we are to go back into that room and tell my mother that we agree. All right, then. I suppose there's no point in delaying the inevitable. I will be the first to admit that I know very little about marriage, but I do understand political strategy, and with our common ground, I hope that we are at least able to become friends who mutually respect one another. It would be beneficial if we could also trust each other, rely on each other. But I am certain that will come with time. Behind closed doors, you may call me just Rowan, but as your royalty yourself, you'll understand when I ask you to address me as Your Highness in public. Very well, I shall do the same. I suppose our meeting was fated, then. May we both serve our people well.
Do I hear wedding bells, Your Highness?
Ambrose, don't tell me you knew about this before I did.
Your Highness, I know everything that happens in this palace, even matters such as this.
And you didn't think to clue me in? We've been in each other's confidence since we were children.
Which, Your Highness, is exactly why your mother terrifies me far more than you do.
Fair enough, I can't blame you for that.
Princess, for what little my opinion may be worth, I do believe that this is a good course of action.
You are one of the few people I trust, Ambrose, so I do value your input.
Shall I start by choosing the napkins and flowers for you?
You had better, for I haven't any patience for that. I leave the matter in your capable hands, and I'll let you convey to Mother that we agree to her proposition. Will you please see our guests to their chambers? I'm going for a walk.